The 115 movie was doomed from the beginning, but somehow ended up raising over $5,000 for a film that never released and has been a meme in the zombies community ever since. This project was first announced in July of 2015, with the JFK Gamer posting some reveal images along with a now privated trailer. The idea for the movie seemed simple enough though. A YouTuber with over 200,000 subscribers and an amateur filmmaker was going to gather all of his friends together to shoot a live-action Call of Duty Zombies parody film. Every cast member was scheduled to be a prominent zombies YouTuber, with everyone from the Smith Plays to Mr. T-Lexify being brought on. But as it turns out, this announcement pretty much marked the high point of the 115 movie, with many people being excited, but others having their doubts that what was even possible with this project. And it seems JFK knew going in that this was going to be very ambitious, because 3 months after the announcement, an Indiegogo crowdfunding page was created to help fund this movie, a goal of $25,000 for the community to reach in only 2 months. And it was made very clear in the description of this announcement that if this project did not raise the $25,000, then the production was going to severely suffer. That amount of money in only a few months was pretty much a pipe dream from the beginning though. JFK at the time had only roughly 200,000 subscribers, and with his Call of Duty Zombies related storyline videos, they were only receiving roughly 15 to 25,000 views per video. That means nearly 1/4 of his average audience would need to have donated $5 each to fully fund this project, and clearly he thought it was possible with an Indiegogo update showing this excerpt. $5 from 5,000 people makes the movie, and I also should point out here that he wasn't actually making enough money from ads on his videos to fund it all himself, so I understand why there was a need for crowdfunding. And being a bit more fair to JFK here, he did have a lot of friends helping to push the project along, and maybe that's why he thought the full funding was possible. Fellow YouTubers who were also slated to be cast members like the Smith Plays, Mr. T-Lexify, Drifter, Swifters, Lonely Mailbox, and about 15 others were all promoting the movie, with some of them even reposting the announcement on their personal YouTube channels with links to the Indiegogo page. But for obvious reasons though, pretty much every single person has wiped their hands clean of all this and deleted their videos in the years since. So with the Indiegogo page only raising 20% of its goal, you would expect for the project to be cancelled right away, or maybe scaling back production to only include a few friends and filming locally, right? Well, clearly not, because a few weeks after the crowdfunding campaign had finished, an update was posted stating that the team behind the 115 movie was working on pre-production, securing filming locations, and finishing up the script. Clearly this group of individuals had no intentions of backing down right away, even though they still had quite the uphill battle to go. Or at least it seemed like they didn't want to back down, because this update was the last one that the Indiegogo page would ever receive, with it laying completely dormant since the end of 2015. I should also point out that during this time, JFK was still frequently posting his regular YouTube videos, and we can assume was working behind the scenes to figure out how to use this small budget that he had been given to actually create something that didn't look like another backyard YouTube video. $5,000 seems like a lot of money until you realize that prop makers for something like a real-life ray gun can charge up to $200 just for that alone. JFK seemed to be in way over his head with the entire thing, and the whole production seemed to be drowning him, honestly. But truthfully, I do and I don't actually feel all that bad for him at the same time. In 2015, JFK was probably 20 years old and had built himself a decent-sized audience. Combine that with him being a film student in college and having worked on professional sets for commercials and shows, or at least so he claims, he probably thought that making his own movie was probably a good idea. But thinking about this for more than a few seconds will make more rational people think that this is going to go horribly wrong. First of all, even if the $25,000 goal was reached, I still don't believe it would have even been enough money. As I said earlier, props and costumes alone were going to cost a few $1,000s. Securing a place to film at for, let's say, 2 to 3 days would cost another $2,000, even if only one location is being used. Trying to rent out somewhere big enough to actually, make a small movie is not cheap. You're also going to need to fly out the 20+ cast members and have them all staying somewhere nearby to the filming area. That part might seem a little bit ridiculous, by the way, but keep in mind most of the cast members were either small YouTubers with a few thousand subscribers or medium-sized YouTubers. I would bank on saying that pretty much all of them hadn't become millionaires just yet, so it's fair to assume most of them weren't rolling in money enough to fly themselves out and book hotels just to help their friend out for a few days. And this cost of travel is actually even accounted for in the film's official budget breakdown. On top of that, you're going to need equipment like cameras, lenses, microphones, lighting, and peripherals. None of these things are cheap and can cost thousands of dollars each. This budget also doesn't account for even anything going wrong, post-production work, editing, needing an extra day to film if necessary, equipment breaking, or just flights being expensive that week. But despite an insurmountable amount of challenges, filming was still planned to go ahead in April of 2016, and as the month came and went, nothing happened and nothing was ever filmed. JFK in his official apology video about this situation basically shifts the blame for this to everyone else, with him saying that the release of Zetsubo no Shima, its early capture event, and the gaming convention PAX East made it so none of the scheduled YouTuber cast could make it to the filming location. To me, this seems like a very convenient cop-out for him to take no responsibility for his lack of foresight and planning. As a Zombies YouTuber himself, JFK knew that there was going to be a DLC season for Black Ops 3 Zombies and knew that in the week before and after release, people are going to be focusing on making content for their own channels. But by this point, the 115 movie had already started to become a meme, so why would these 20 YouTubers go film a movie that would take up at least 2 to 3, maybe 4 days of their time when they could stay home and potentially make thousands of dollars from Easter egg guides or live streams for Zetsubo? To me, this excuse of DLC releases and gaming conventions is beyond weak for a lot of different reasons. Like, firstly, JFK knew all of the big Zombies YouTubers who would be attending the early capture event for Zetsubo and would know the map's release date for at least 3 weeks to a month ahead of time. I understand that he probably booked a filming location way before then, but to basically cancel the entire movie based on your bad calendar placement is just a weak excuse. My personal theory is that he saw the budget that he was given, got demotivated, and as soon as this obstacle stood in his way, he just threw up the white flag and basically just said fuck it. Everything else is just fluff to save his own ass in that apology video. Like I said, there was literally no benefit to helping out JFK here, and it seems like this scheduled filming date being cancelled, it was just a straw that broke the camel's back. He also claims that him and the crew tried to find more dates, but nothing came together, so looking forward, the film was just scrapped entirely. But even if filming had gone ahead in an ideal world, it probably would have been a disaster, with multiple people probably pulling out due to money concerns and all sorts of other issues. It was just a bloated cast, and you can't expect every single one of those people to have gotten on your schedule just when you needed it. There also wasn't even a finalized script, with Mr. TLXFi reading off a copy that he had received on one of his old live streams. The contents of that script were pretty weak, and we can all assume that the acting of non-trained YouTubers would have been really cringe to watch even in the best of circumstances. But I will say that there is a silver lining to this whole thing. Like, according to JFK himself, he was personally giving refunds to everyone who had backed the Indiegogo page, even though some of it was going to need to come from his own pocket. Now, obviously, I can't personally verify if every single person was refunded, but if he is telling the truth and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt here, then I will give him some props for that. Once the 115 movie was cancelled though, it became a blemish on his reputation that never really went away within the Zombies community. After posting his apology video for the 115 movie debacle, JFK would only go on to post another 8 Zombies related videos. And after that, he would try out a few assorted comic book videos before eventually taking a hiatus for over 3 years from YouTube, before briefly returning for a few live streams in the middle of 2020, then quickly disappearing once again. From what I can tell, he has also deleted his Twitter account and Instagram, but he might have a personal one laying around, I'm not really too sure. In the years since then, he has changed his YouTube channel name multiple times, so I'm not entirely sure what handle I would even look for. There was also a Facebook page for the movie that would post about JFK's own videos and pictures of him working on unrelated projects that weren't the 115 movie. But particularly the last post ever made annoys me because it shows him working at night with the crew and the caption of "during rigging, showing you all we actually make movies." Yeah, well, that was a fucking lie, wasn't it? That whole post just rubs me the wrong way, like he's trying way too hard to prove that he's a real filmmaker. especially considering that this wasn't the first time that he had made this sort of post, and to put it on a page for a movie that will never be made or just didn't even have any film for it whatsoever is just kind of insulting. The 115 movie failed because of an over-reliance on crowdfunding, poor planning, a weak concept, bad script, and being way too ambitious. For a movie that was only supposed to be 10 to 15 minutes long, having over 20 cast members was just way too fucking much. The idea of a real-life Call of Duty Zombies movie or show is something that I am personally very on board with, and I think that if you had a huge budget and something like Netflix, Hulu, HBO, whoever caught onto the concept, I think it could be made very well. But $25,000 and, what they ended up getting of $5,000 just was not going to cut it. And they were probably banking on the name power of everyone involved to carry it through to a bunch of success, but in the end, the community ended up with nothing besides regret. And for the man whose idea it was, effectively had his career ended by the incident, and I'm not sure if the embarrassment itself caused him to leave YouTube. It could have been that the film, actually extinguished his love for Call of Duty Zombies, or maybe he was just planning to make it his last big project anyway. No one will ever know, and sometimes, you know what, that's okay. But if you do enjoy these documentary style videos, then subscribe and maybe check out my Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3 retrospectives, and maybe comment on some other stuff I should make documentaries on that are Call of Duty Zombies related. Love you, bye.